Hello, my name is Bob Herrera, Superintendent of Schools, and I'd like to welcome you to our Friday Spotlight. Today we have three guests. I will let them introduce themselves first.
Hello, I'm Dr. Kelly Coffin, Assistant Superintendent.
Margaret Hendrickson, Director.
And Felicia, Venable, Director.
Thank you and welcome to today's Spotlight. It's great to have guests with me. I always enjoy the company rather than going alone at this. But we do have some very important questions to cover that I know our community would like more information on. So I'm hoping that you guys will give them a very thoughtful explanation of what's going on in the district around some of these areas. So to begin, Dr. Coffin, the board will be reviewing the COVID-19 extended plan next Tuesday.
Yeah.
How is this the same or different from the preparedness plan?
Well, it is exactly what it sounds like. It's an extended learning plan, so it is an extension of the initial plan that was submitted in August to Oakland schools. That was reviewed by the board prior to that. What's a little bit different in this plan is that we still have to provide a statement and explaining why we still need the extended learning plan specific to ensuring that our students are engaged and that they're moving forward in the curriculum. So we're focusing on engagement and achievement. We also are required to establish academic goals for our students in grades kindergarten through 8th grade in math and reading, and then for 9th grade in reading. We also want to clarify our instructional delivery process, and then the board will continue to recommit to that every 30 days. It also allows for us recognizing the need for equitable access in technology and also access and accommodations for our students with special needs and our vulnerable students populations such as the English language learners.
Yeah, as I've been part and have listened to discussions throughout the district with the work groups, it's from the inside, it's amazing to really be privy to all the things that you guys are considering in these plans and development of these plans. There's so many moving parts, and it covers literally every aspect of school and providing educational services to students. So all the way from HR to not just the traditional program to transportation to food service to custodial maintenance. So they're very comprehensive plans, and we appreciate all the work our staff has done on that and the work that you've led. Another very important question in the community is returning to school. What steps are taking place right now for the planning of returning to in-person instruction?
So as part of our plan that we have to submit, we do have to ensure that we're providing benchmark assessments, and we also have to work in consultation with our local health department to set that criteria. So that's a lot of our preparation right now and looking for in-school and bringing our kids back in person, which we know is where we want to eventually end up. And as part of the plan, we do have to assure that we're prioritizing kindergarten through 5th grade. So I think that's important for people to understand. And there's a lot of reasons behind that, but that's part of what the board will make, that will make the assurances to the community. And then we're also gathering information on two-way interactions with our students. And all of that is done to support preparing for coming back to school. And so Margaret, if you want to talk a little bit more about some of the in-person.
Well, I think some of the pieces that are important is that there are active teams at secondary and elementary level talking about what that transition to in-person learning will look like and sound like. And so in that work with the building administrators, they're connecting with their staff on what kind of things are needed to move to in-person. So we're thinking a lot about what that phase-in looks like and what needs to be in place. And like you referenced earlier, it's not just the instructional programming, it's all of the pieces. So not only do we have building administrators in those conversations linking teacher voice in, but we also have Felicia at the table and HR at the table as we try to plan that. So one of the things I like is that we're able to take elements of the instructional model of what we're doing now to help that transition. So while that team is coming up with plans on what grade levels come back when, how many students, in what ways, we know that we can take the instructional practices that we're using now into that setting. For example, Canvas, this idea of synchronous and asynchronous learning. So we can take that learning into the next step and transition our staff and our students.
So it would be fair to say that the conversation around returning to in-person learning will be more common conversation that we'll be probably engaging our community with more in the very near future.
Absolutely. And I think it's important, as our community knows, we have opened up our buildings for the use with the Y Care partnership. So we are learning from them on how that's going and to help inform this planning. So any opportunities where we've had to have students together in the small groups, we are paying attention to that and using that as a process in a way for us to inform our decisions moving forward.
So the decision for remote learning had its impact on the district and certainly our staff that was more responsible for the remote services. However, as we come back to in-person, that's going to mean new business for you as we talk about maintaining the care of the facilities and cleaning of the facilities as students return back to in-person learning. So how is facilities management preparing for the reopening of our schools?
Sure. Well, there's a number of tasks, and we've been working very closely with the academic team as well as our information technology team in preparing for returning of school. That means social distancing student desks in classrooms, prioritizing the K-5 elementary school buildings. It also means incorporating signage throughout the building that encourages social distancing and proper hand washing. We've conducted an audit of our HVAC system, and we've changed filters. We've purchased additional filters to change more frequently throughout the school year. And we've also incorporated cleaning protocol specific to COVID-19. And so right now we have custodial staff in the building that works throughout the day. In the event there's a teacher that's opted to conduct virtual learning from his or her classroom, we target those cleaning and disinfecting of those specific classrooms and areas. There's a whole host of things that have gone in place to make sure that people feel safe when they return to school and work.
So more specifically, what are some of the cleaning protocols
Sure.
that we're using now, and how will they maybe change a little bit or increase once we start the in-person?
Sure. So our cleaning protocol right now aligns with the safe reopening of schools roadmap that's issued by the state of Michigan. Every 4 hours, our custodians have been assigned to clean and disinfect frequently touch points. That means door handles, handrails, desks where the teachers are using them in their classrooms. The custodians also at night, there's a team that cleans the building specific to the rooms that are used throughout the day. Once school returns, those same protocols will be in place, yet we'll also incorporate use of our 360 Clorox machines in some of those areas that perhaps have a larger volume of students and staff present during the day.
Right. So what are the challenges and or constraints that keep you up at night, so to speak?
Right. So I haven't been shy in sharing with everyone in our community in that we're having a difficult time recruiting staff for the custodial positions. In July, we transitioned to a new firm. That firm onboarded a number of custodians that were with us previously, but we also needed to hire. I believe the challenges have been with the increase in unemployment benefits, right, that are slated to expire at the end of the year. Hasn't necessarily encouraged staff to apply, but we're using all of our avenues for recruiting and offering incentives for those that perhaps want to add to their workday. Existing staff may be allowed to stay longer to help during the evenings. But right now our challenge is not all of our buildings have a custodial team assigned to a building during the evenings. And that means that we have to have custodians to travel building to building to ensure that the buildings are being cleaned and disinfected. So that's our challenge for right now.
Yeah, I think workforce has been a challenge for a lot of business and industry during this time, and folks just hesitant to come back to work on top of the unemployment that's available to them right now to help continue to support their quality of life. So
I would add that we're also getting help from our support team. So we have bus drivers right now that are helping us throughout the day. Just been phenomenal, been extremely helpful, as well as during the evening hours.
Yeah, our staff, all the way from our paras to our bus drivers, have been great in terms of considering other working conditions to help support us right now as we try to figure out what this transition will really look like and how we can maintain our current services keep up with this whole pandemic.
Yes.
So another question that I get frequently asked is around our LMS or Canvas. We know that was a very big decision for the district to move into a learning management system. So maybe help us understand what it means to implement that and what the learning management system means to us in the future.
One of the things it means for implementation is that it's work. And so, and it's a robust system with a lot of features. So one of the first things that we've really tried to focus it on is step up expectations for staff, and then connecting student and parent use of Canvas with those step up expectations. And so we actually have released to staff kind of 4 weeks at a time what the expectations are for using Canvas to support the teaching and learning. And we actually have a set of building LMS leads or Canvas leads. So we have teacher leaders at each building that kind of progress monitor what's going on in the building, what staffs are excited about, what they're stressed about, what their challenges are. And so we monitor and we adjust those expectations over time. So it's really important to know that we're trying to hear from teachers and what they're doing and seeing and understanding and how we can build that up. But we also have those people that are overachievers that want to step really fast into the advanced features. And so we're trying to support those staff where they need to be. And so one of the biggest challenges is just navigating the continuum of teachers that we have. One of the things that we are proud of, but is still a work in progress, is these tiered systems of supports we have in the district as to who to contact for this, who to contact for that, relative to that onboarding and building that skill and understanding. One of the challenges, honestly, was just the timing of the rollout, because Canvas, as well as many LMSs, had many districts onboarding. And so at the initial training that we did with staff was asynchronous based on what was embedded in the Canvas system. So now that things are lightening up, we're actually able to add not only the 3 to 4 district coordinators that are working on the LMS and the building leads supporting the LMS. Our building leads and district coordinators can now get live virtual training from Canvas, which was missing because they just did not have the capacity to support. But what I'm very proud of is we have staff and teachers working and building these micro videos. We'd love them to be 1 to 2 minutes, kind of like you see on YouTube, but these really targeted videos to support staff. And so it's been a transition for staff in a short period of time. We've really only been at this 2 weeks. And so I'm pretty proud of where they are. I actually got an email from a teacher today that said they were skeptical, but really enjoying where it could go. And one of the messages in one of the community videos that we sent out is we need grace to grow in this time, all of us, students, parents, and staff, in learning the LMS, because this isn't just about today. This is about the whole year, and it's about years to come, because an LMS has benefit long-standing. We also just started doing professional development with our administrators so they can see what teachers see and students and parents see. So we've been engaging administrators in professional development as well. So we're learning as we go. We have a plan, but we're adjusting that plan as needed.
Right, and so I think one of the things that I think is important to note in all this is that a lot of work, as you stated, is going into the LMS right now to get it implemented and up and running to a level that we can provide quality remote programming for our students. But the LMS is not going to go away just as we return to in-person. So all that effort and this change in structure and support for the tool will continue to grow throughout the next 3 to 5 years as we figure ways to use the tool and maybe continue to enhance students' learning and opportunities to learn in a more personalized way through the tool.
Yeah.
So I think that's also very important. Well, one of the other things I would like to maybe thank this group for particularly is your effort leading this and working together and with all the work groups. I receive feedback from time to time with other districts may have published where they're headed with their work and maybe a week or so in advance of our district. But honestly, it's been easy to note that they may have had a change in heart in their plans shortly after they've announced one direction. I'm so thankful with our group and your work and our approach to addressing these issues is your collaborative approach to this. I mean, anybody that's worked in schools knows that having staff be able to provide input and having ownership ensures a lot of success, more success in the implementation of it, and especially as we're looking at a reform that will continue on in the district. So I think thoughtful consideration you've given this, the work groups that have been established, and the manner and the processes you've used to get buy-in and move this forward is going to ensure that it is something that we sustain and reform, and we're not abandoning this once we return to in person. I also think that the manner in which our central office cabinet and our district leadership are communicating and working together more to coordinate services. I know we were thrown into this, but we have a very new team in central office, and you guys have done an amazing job of rolling your sleeves up, working together, being very respectful of how a decision in curriculum could impact a decision in the facilities, and certainly would impact a decision in HR and even into the budget. So I want to compliment everybody for the work they've done along those lines as well. And I'm more than confident that when we do make recommendations to our Board of Education, they're very thoughtfully considered. Every aspect's been considered, and we've used a very collaborative and shared decision-making model to put those recommendations forth. So.
And when you think about that plan piece, there's framework planning, and then there's the actual enactment planning. It's that real building out. And so what I would really like to say thank you to staff about is not only did they have to learn LMS, there were a lot of other layers with curriculum changes, assessment changes, instructional approach changes, that they just didn't get one change. They got a lot of layers, and they are working very, very hard on that. And so while we can plan and coordinate and collaborate across the system, that we recognize that it's huge levels of support, but that support can also be very stressful.
Yeah, and I think it's also fair to say, as we go through a change of this magnitude, or the scope and size of this change, real positive change in education doesn't always feel comfortable at first.
Yeah.
So we know there's going to be a few growing pains with this, but I really do see it as a very significant positive change for the district that will certainly allow us to enhance our services to our students and families in the future. So appreciate that foresight on this as well. Now, we're not just planning for getting through the pandemic, but we're making decisions that we can build off in the future.
Agree.
So any other comments from you before we close that you'd like to share with the community, or maybe give us a big surprise that we don't know is coming?
Well, I have a celebration that Kelly and I talked about. We spent a lot of time in learning at a distance and these preparedness plans, but there's still other exciting things still happening in the district.
Sure.
So we have launched a middle school innovation group, a group of 18 teachers that are really going to think about innovative practices, as well as thinking about innovative physical spaces in the buildings. And we just signed on with the Concord Consortium and Michigan State University. We have some teachers doing some amazing stuff in science using what's called Sage Modular interactive technology and other curriculum work. So we're working with Joe Kraychek, who's a leader in science education right now. So that stuff hasn't gone away. We're still growing and doing the work.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because we also need to give a big thank you to our strategic partner in that effort, Bosch.
Bosch, yes.
They were very generous with the gift to help us begin to start that initiative in the district. So we appreciate their support and assistance to seek out some innovation in our classrooms. So we look forward to hearing more about that and reporting back to Bosch in the near future about our progress. Well, I would like to thank you for being here with me today, and again, all the work that you've done. So enjoy your weekend, as this is the Friday Spotlight.
Thank you.
And we'll maybe have you back in the near future.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us, and enjoy your weekend as well.